mental health issues which have not actually been looked into. Depression has been said to be among high during this period of time. We also have an anxiety related. This is a new thing we have not been known before. Everybody is anxious. How do we address this thing? Who is in this contact? Fear is everywhere. And when this thing sets in, the next thing is stress. Because when you're anxious, you are worried, you are too careful of so many things, then your workload begins to increase. Because you are expected to be procedural in what you do. You expect, okay, if I come here, I must not touch this, I must not do that. You are becoming so much worried about it. So much stress is setting. And when that stress sets in, your health factor is also implicated. Because when stress sets in, it affects your physical health. Let's forget about the mental health. Your physical health is first affected. Your sleep level also is being impacted upon. Because for you to have a sound sleep, it's going to be an issue. Now, you begin to live in post-traumatic. There are some people that are post-traumatic, that have this post-traumatic stress disorder. What I mean by post-traumatic is that most of you, when you have started closing war, by the time you go back home, you remember you have passed through, you have touched a little bit of headache that comes on your way. You begin to worry, I hope I've not contacted COVID-19 virus. And these are fears that comes in. I have a practical experience that most of the time when you see patients and you go back home, you begin to feel weak and a little bit of cough. You're being looked at, I hope I'm not. These are stress. It makes the work cumbersome, not that easy on your part. Now talk about the cut down. The strength of workers that needed to do a particular work has been reduced. Now very few people have to do what? Assume the responsibility of doing the exact work. That is what? Stress. So it affected everything. Everything is affected. And the end product is that the mental health individual is affected in terms of the line of anxiety. We have what we call anxiety disorders. We have post-traumatic stress disorders. Depression is the most commonest thing because people that are in isolation, quarantine, or even have the illness, the outcome is that they are not going to be happy. They feel sad, they feel hopeless because they feel that the situation has not, knowing that fully well that the coronavirus has not treatment yet. So the fear of death comes in.
Okay, Alhaji Rahman Olufoyineye, I know that you belong to very many Islamic organizations, and I know that in Islam, even from the point of lining up for prayer, there's nothing like social distancing or physical distancing. But wow, the reality is, yeah, we've seen pictures from even Saudi Arabia and so many Muslim Islamic countries where they're now having congregational prayers with social distancing, so to say. So, how has it been how has it been possible for people to actually, people you meet, you shake hands, you hug, you do all this. The reality is, yeah, so what has been what has been the setting right now?
Well, thank you very much. You know, the problem is looking at the environment we find ourselves, it's going to be difficult to adjust to those things. You know, naturally, when you go to mosque, you greet yourself, you hug. All this Islamic culture, you know, when you meet each other, you hug,
salam.
You say salam.
And you don't say salam like this.
No, you don't say
well,
salam.
Now it's salam like
salam
this.
Like this.
Salam.
So you hug each other, you greet each other, all those things. But with this physical distance, I want to agree with the psychologist. We are now living social distance. It's now physical distance because looking at the announcement of the president, we have been allowed to be moving around, but to maintain the distance, use of our face mask, and washing our hands regularly with hand sanitizers. But looking at it now, it has not been very easy because it even affects so many people that they are not even going to mosque, they pray at home. And looking at the information from the state government now, that mosques are not yet open. No. Yes, look at what the president has said, that churches and mosques should be open, but however, they also place it down that
depending on the individual states.
Yeah. And look, if come down to our southwest now, I think the southwest are saying mosques and churches should not open for now because we are still not at the peak. Look what the NCDC said, we are still not at the peak of the pandemic. We are still not. I think 3, 4, 5 days ago, we had the largest cases so far, which is somehow pathetic. It's very pathetic looking at that, all this while that we are thinking that we have overcome this thing. We've had like 3, 4, 5 weeks lockdown and self-isolation, all these things that the rate in which this thing is increasing should be reduced. But it's not. The reverse is the case. Now looking at the mosque, we have no choice than to abide by that because Islamically, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam enlightens us, he teaches us that when there is pandemic, you should pray in your various residence. You should pray. However, if you now have a chance to go to mosque, then adequate physical and social distance must be observed. If you look at this, Saudi, look at the Haram now, the 2 mosques in Saudi, they maintain social, despite that, they are even saying that ablution should be done from home. That you cannot just come in, while doing ablution, using same water, use all those things, you can meet each other. So just go into the mosque, maintain social distance, and observe your salat and leave with adequate maintenance of things. But for our home here, I think we have not gotten to that stage. I was looking at the headline this morning. They said people from 55 years upward should not go to mosque. That is what they are saying, is that they are thinking, medically, I think they believe that their immunity has been reduced. So they should not expose themselves to the pandemic. But naturally, we are in Nigeria and our own situation is different. We have said this. Some people are still thinking, I can say it, we meet with people in the community. I can still tell you 30 or 40% of Nigerians doesn't believe that COVID-19 is real.
Okay, Alhaji, looking at the community, let's start from the community now. And you've been integral part of the community. Do you think in these areas, areas in the society, do you think people are observing these new norms? For instance, using of a face mask in Ogun State, you must put it on. And we discovered that some people are putting it on in the public the way you are having it now. We know it's because you are in the studio.
Exactly.
That's why you are putting it on that way. But people in the society are putting it on this way. Do you think that way we can adjust to the new norm?
Madam Charity, it's not an easy task for someone to close the mouth and the nose. In fact, I met with somebody last week that the person was asking me that when you are enforcing us to use face mask now, our #1 citizen in this country has not used face mask. I was just laughing. I said, no, don't say that. Don't say that. Because our #1 citizen has not used face mask, that doesn't mean that you should not use face mask. But it's not easy. We are just coming up with these things. Naturally, those that are riding bicycle, even before pandemic, they are supposed to be using face masks. Those that are working in industry, all those things, those that are doing roads, naturally, they are supposed to be using face masks. Even those that are sweeping roads, they are supposed to be using face masks before pandemic. But yet, we didn't use it. Now, we have been forced, with the situation we found ourselves to be using it, and we are going to find it difficult. People are not, when you go to market, you see people moving with each other. They will not maintain social distance, they will not maintain physical distance, and they will not use face masks. For
the market situation, do you think it can, the social distancing thing can be
especially the kind of markets we run.
We run in Nigeria.
We have to be objective. It's going to be difficult. I have said it earlier on the program that this is where we need our environmental officers to work. They should go to markets now, enlighten our market men and women, and enforce the social distance.
The use of
face masks and social distance. This is where we need all these environmental officers. People call them woli. They should come out. There are many. They should just try. We, however, understand that how many woli, how many environmental officers will you use in Kuto or Adapter market or Lafenwa market? How many of them will work? But naturally, as an individual, we should know that all these things is for our own safety. I said it earlier, 40 to 30% of Nigerians believe that COVID-19 is not real because of the source of the information.
Okay,
federal government or entities are just giving us numbers every day. They just come up that 535 had COVID-19. We want to see their face. People, masses will say, we want to see their face.
Charity as a woman, before you throw your question to the psychologist, you go to market regularly.
Yeah.
Let's
be realistic.
Be realistic. Is it not, will it not be more practicable to encourage people to use nose masks in the market rather than social distancing?
I believe, am I a guest now?
Yeah, you are the end user now.
From what I've seen in the market, I think the face mask is very, very compulsory, because the physical distancing thing is difficult to achieve, because our markets are closely together. The stores are together. You have the woman selling fish here and the tomato beside her. Right, in fact, there is no space in between them. So ensuring that physical distancing observed is very, very, it could be very low.
You could have 3 customers coming together. You don't know which one will buy, which one will not buy. You want to say, you wait.
And you can't even say the pepper woman, the woman selling pepper, will have to attend to somebody that wants to buy fish. So the physical distancing, we should ensure it is observed.
What of those that are on the road? Look at that market. They are on the main road.
We should ensure that it is observed, but more importantly, our nose mask, must be used at every point in time. Yeah. That's my experience.
Okay, good.
So,
go back to
away from me, get come back to the presenter now. I have to come back as a presenter now. Mr. Mpang, as a psychologist, you are in the medical line. Can you tell us what people feel? We know that there's malaria and you can come in and treat yourself, and when you have this drug, there's that belief that you'll be healed even before using the drug. Do you think people believe if they have COVID-19 they can be cured?
The first thing I want to talk about is people actually accepting that COVID-19 is real. You give a letter of 30 to 40% of Nigeria, that I think is up to about 80% of Nigeria, not 30 to 40. Why am I saying 80% of Nigerian? I've been opportunity to mix up with community people. I've heard their perceptions, and there are a lot of what we call controversy theory. Controversy theory is like a kind of a theory that brings about discrepancies. You hear different opinion that is not in keeping with the realities on ground. Like, for instance, we've heard about the 5G network being the cause of what white people die and not coronavirus. We've heard a whole lot of things that comes up. And why is this problem there? It is because of the credibility of the source of information. We have a problem with the credibility of the source of information. And what do I mean by the credibility of our source of information? Is the government. The first thing that we were informed, how do we get to know about the existence of coronavirus? It has to do with what? The government detected it and communicated about back to us. As a people, we have the problem that we don't trust our government. We don't trust any information they give to us. So there's an issue now. Should I believe you? That's what I'm saying now that is interplaying. People find it so difficult to believe government intention. So if government said, stay here, people will think that staying here means that government has another ulterior motive. So they will not want to stay.
They want to find out.
They want to find another means to move on. So there are a whole lot of issues. The first thing I feel that if we must make people to comply, the first and foremost thing we need to do is that government must be what?
Responsible.
Must be responsible. Our government must be what? Genuine. Must be transparent in actions. When there's discrepancies in issues, people find a lot of doubt. Now we talk about the Chinese doctors that was invited in. A whole lot of issues comes on board. Government are saying they are not the one that invited it. It was CCTV. Okay, good, we understand, but where are they? What are they here to do? It's still an issue that have not been answered today. And that also goes a long way to also make people begin to think, is this thing actually genuine? So these are issues that we are finding that if the credibility of the source is not actually there, we have issues about compliance, because people will never believe you if they don't trust you.
Okay, Mr. Ipa, let's leave the government out of it now. What about individual? We are talking about our health, and anything can happen at any time. Shouldn't we have that mindset that we should take care of ourselves first, Let's leave the government out of it.
Actually, aside from the government, the mindset of the people. Yeah, definitely. It depends on two things. There are factors that are involved. What has been our belief system over time? There are so many that believes on these things are foreign. And if you believe that it's foreign, it's not part and parcel of it, it's difficult for you to do what? To comply with it. Some believe that because they are in God, they have spiritual cover, so they cannot be affected. And as such, belief system also make compliance applying of these safety measures that have been stipulated is going to be a difficult task. So our mindset goes a long way to determine what we do. If you think, the way you think is the way you behave. What has been in our culture? Our culture believes more on the spiritual issues. That things are being caused by what? Spirit. It's a spiritual attack.
Exactly.
So issues like that also goes a long way to impact on people's response. It is only when they actually have encounter with it, that's when they begin to do what? Change their perceptions. And that goes about the communication level. That's why most of what people want to see. Let's see how these people are being treated. Let's see how it looks like in the isolation wards. Showing them those pictures sometimes return back the message that this thing is real. That's why most of the time in the developed world, the US, they show you the isolation ward, though it has an issue. But if you follow the due process about ethical issues, to tell the people, look, we are doing it because we want other people now to be cautious. If they give you that consent, it dies down this issue. People naturally complain when they see that these things are real. They see that people are suffering. Now, the message about few people that came to testify to it also goes a long way now to make more other people now become cautious, because they've seen people coming to testify. But seeing those people testify after the treatment is an issue also. Because most of them will tell that they were nothing, I was not done, I was placed on this medication, I was placed on these medications. COVID-19 is not that, yeah, it is bad, it's kind of dangerous, not that so bad. Let me use what not that so bad. Why am I saying it's not that so bad? If you can maintain these stipulated procedures, you're about to exist without having issues. But now how do you get to maintain these procedures? This is where the problem comes. Because our culture is quite different. We're not brought up to be greeting people, hello, hello. We're not brought up to be the kind of people that will come and say, go and wash your hands before you enter my house. These are issues that are making people feel bad. How will you feel if you have a guest and the first thing you tell your close friends who have been with you over time and go and wash my hands before you come to me?
Or I will sit on the 3-seater, you sit on the other side.
And a guest comes and so those things.
You are not even supposed to welcome him if you follow the rule. You are not supposed to welcome visitor because you don't know where the visitor is coming from. So the issue of sitting on a 3-seater and sitting, you are taking it too far, which means we are, for now, it is
we are not following the new norm.
so that now brings back the major issue. We need to change our thinking. We need to change our belief system. We need to see that these things are real. We need to personally inculcate that belief system into us. We need to see that what the government is not doing is not for the government, it is for us. When we assume that responsibility, until we can live, that's what the new norms are. We can live with it without really having issues.
Okay, let me go to Elijah Renee. From the perspective of agencies that should help government in enforcing the rule of staying at home, let me talk about the security agencies now. For example, if you look at Ogun State, what you see, maybe majority of the positive cases are from Ado-Ota, and people will tell you that they are not even residents of Ado-Ota, but they are those who found themselves into the Ado-Ota from other means, maybe from outside the country, from within the country. And of course, one of the rules of preventing community spread is interstate. It is still in force. That is talking about interstate traveling here and there. But you and I know that people come into Ogun State from different parts of Nigeria today. Not only essential workers. I'm not talking about essential workers, those bringing food. People travel all the way from Ibadan. People travel all the way from Niger. People travel all the way. And it is not peculiar to Ogun State, which means it depends on how you know your way. You can easily travel and get to your destinations if you want to travel. What does that say of those that are supposed to make sure that there's no there is no interstate traveling here and there. Especially our security agencies, have they been truthful about actually ensuring that their own part of the bargain is maintained?
Thank you very much, sir. You know, when Mr. Intan was saying the other time, and was pushing it to the government, Charity said, leave government alone. What you have just said now also is a government affair. No, because it's the government that has, they are the one in charge of security agencies. You know, we have to be objective with ourselves. Sir, I was discussing with someone 2 weeks ago, and that person said, why are we deceiving ourselves? When someone gets to toll gates in Songo, the person is coming from Lagos, and we are saying there should not be interstate traveling. And the person just stop, trek, cross the toll gate, at least trek, and he was able to get his way down to Songo and move to Ifo, Abeokuta, as person not travel.
Is it not only about trekking? Also?
No, I just
drivers knowing some other routes.
No,
yeah, other
number
routes.
one. Number two, what of driving? I believe there is nobody that will be going to our south side that will not pass Shagamu. That's our Shagamu here. That is the reason why they call Ogun State Gateway State. So some people maneuver their ways. 2-3 weeks ago, at along this place, Shagamu Road, they said, no, Kuto side, 3 Beninois or Togolese were dropped beside the road. They see where they are coming from.
And they were apprehended.
I'm aware that they are apprehended. But look at it. That's when we saw that one. What of those that we didn't see? That's what we saw. So our security agents need to work seriously on that one. We have to be realistic. He has said it. Government should be responsible. All these things. Me and you know, we've been opportune to be outside the country. We have people there. We have information. Their government take it up. They believe that this thing is real, and let us look at the way of handling it. I was saying it the other time. Some people were saying, why would I said it was while Prime Minister of Britain was moving up and down. That was why he had COVID-19. Thank God he's back now. And yet he didn't sit down at home. They are still working seriously on it. So our government should come up. Our security agencies should not put our life at risk. They should stop these things. We should be realistic. Interstate traveling. We are even better here a little bit. Alaji, go to the northern parts. It's even worse. And we call ourselves one Nigeria. Are you with me? If things are not going well in the northern part of Nigeria now, it will also affect us here. They will bring beans. They will bring tomato, pepper from the place to Olomore, to Lulafenwa, all those places. If things are not going well there, it will affect us here. So we have to be realistic. The governors should sit down and make sure that all these things were enforced. Sorry. It was when El Rufai realized, saw the death and came back, he now said that nobody should enter Kaduna State. And look at it. We are saying we should stay at home, observe our heat prayer during the prayer here in the southwest. Over there, they said they should go out.
And they went out.
And they went out. Are they saying COVID-19 is only existing in the southwest? And the north part is not, you know, all these things. We have, that is why I will now go back to what Charity has said, that individuals, you are responsible to your own life. Individuals should now sit down and look at it and try what you can do within your reach to protect yourself and realize that COVID-19 is real. I think you want to come in.
Yeah, I just want to, let's not just overflow the military, the security. How many are there compared to the population of Nigeria? Those are issues. A very few cannot police the wider masses because they cannot be everywhere. So somehow they have done their best. So let's appreciate them for the little they have done, given the realities of what is within their disposal. Because by castigating and blaming them, it's like we don't appreciate them. They are doing a wonderful job, sir. It's not just so easy for them to stand on the main road to enforce lockdown.
I agree.
Throughout the day. And these people are also human.
All day.
What packages have we put in place for them? There's burnout syndrome everywhere.
And you cannot even be sure that the palliative that got to, in quotes,
hello, sir, there's nothing.
Got down.
There is no palliative yet to get down among the so-called paramedics, paramilitaries, and militaries that are doing this. I've not seen
even the health worker.
We've not seen anything called palliative measures yet. Yeah, might be there are promises of it forthcoming, but it's not yet there. So very few of them are existent, and these few are expected to do much. Now you place them morning, night, and so the truth is that they are short. Their numbers are few to do the job we need them to do, and then we are still have to.
Invariably, what we are saying is that whether we like it or not, it's not only the medical people that are on the front line when it comes to COVID-19.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
We talk about the military.
Yes.
We talk about the security agencies.
Yes.
We talk about journalists.
Yes.
We talk about. But the question is, do the Nigerian government believe all these people are frontliners too?
So the truth about it is, when we talk about frontliners, they look at the major people, which is the health people. But the frontliners are those that are actually, for me, I will look at the frontliners are those that are going out to get things done, to get things, because we all work together towards doing what? Fighting the illness, the coronavirus. If the media is not there to pass on the information, if the doctors and the health workers are doing everything they can do, definitely other people will still have more hands that will be much more befalling those who are handling it at the hospital. So the media have to do a job. So the media also there is a frontliner. Exactly. The military has to come in, the security has to come in by enforcement, by making sure that they reduce the cost of the spread of the disease. Yes. And by that also becomes what? The frontline, because they are also exposed to what? Contacting virus. Now, why they look at the dichotomy of the frontliner, they look at the proximity to contacting the virus. The health workers are much more prone to contacting because they are there. That's why they call them the frontliner. So the frontliner stuff is being defined by proximity to contact them. Not that everybody is not a frontliner, but the proximity to contact the virus is high among the health workers than it is to every other professionals are involved. But in fact, every professionals are involved. And that's why when I was talking about the government, it's not that I'm leaving the whole responsibility to the government. But most of this, because it's a strange thing, people are about to resist. The first thing is enforcement. Yes. Once the enforcement comes in, the enforcement will force the people to do what? To sit up and accept the realities. Look at the few days when fine way. That's where a lot of people begin to start going out with nose mouths and all the stuff. Though they might not be covering their mouths, but that enforcement means that you have to pay a fine if court sends a message for them that they want to do what? Comply.
Looking at what you said about boredom, about getting used to what they are not used to before, you want to believe that it is a period that psychologists could help a lot. But do they have the platform? Did you ever have the platform during this COVID-19 period to help and stabilize Nigerians psychologically?
Yes, sir. I will answer the question, yes, sir. Starting from the national level, there's Nigerian Psychology Association COVID-19 platform, Respond platform. And this platform has spread across all the states because we have our branches all over the states. So we have people, a task force that has been constituted to work along with what? The government. Like in Ogun State, where we've written a letter to the Ogun State government trying to do what? See a means of doing what? Synergizing with the government. Because we cannot do it. Even if we have a platform that the government does not acknowledge and give credence to, it cannot work. So we have had a task force here that we have said, okay, we want to reach out to the people, but we need a government support to do what? To contact these people. But we have not yet been able to have a direct response from the government on how to go about doing it. So it exists. Some of us have even given out numbers. There are numbers you find out most of the the internet. You can call if you have issues, you need to talk to people. There are numbers like that. So there are platforms, but it is not actually quite being brought to the knowledge of Nigerians because government have not yet been able to own up to that fact that there is a need for psychological services. It's just of recent that the Minister of Health talked about that is what mental health aspect of that you need to draft in psychologists. But up to today, we have not yet had the major direction about the involvement of psychology. But we are set as an association to come on board to assist Nigerians. Okay,
we're looking at COVID-19 aligning with the new norms, and of course we have a psychologist in-house, Dr. Ita Epang, and of course Alhaji Rahman Olu Oyeneye. But of course you can also be part of the program. Let's open our lines, and of course let's see how you have been coping with the new norms brought by COVID-19, especially in trying to not to be not to return a positive test and not to spread it, so to say, washing of hands regularly, wearing of nose masks. I tell you, it's not easy, but you just have to. I don't think people will say, at times you be in a place where you have to wear your nose mask for up to 4 or 5 hours, and at times you get to another platform, they tell you that it is not every time you must have a way of taking fresh air, blah, blah, blah. All those whole lots of insinuations here and there. You don't even know what to believe. But one thing you must know is that COVID-19, it's real. So the number for you to be part of the program is on the screen while Charity takes the next question.
I'll be taking Alaji Olu Oyineye.
Yes, ma'am.
Another aspect of this new norm is our children staying at home.
Yes.
And the schools are closed, and the government is not even giving a date yet for them to come on board or go back to school. Do you think these children too are depressed in some way?
Well, first and foremost, we want to appreciate governments on that, because at least we should be appreciating them also. We should not just continue to criticize them that all these DG class, all these online classes, we appreciate governments, both the government and the private sectors also. At least not to make the student feel dull, the pupils at home. But the fact remains that, I said it earlier, we have not gotten to the peak of this pandemic. Based on that, I don't think government can come out emphatically that this is the date for the resumption. It's not feasible. Because, you know, these are small children. These are children that will play with themselves. These are children that will come together, that will hug each other. These are children that will use another person's desk, all those things. And we don't know the level of... I was seeing something on the social media where I showing that returning back to school, that the child wear as if he was one that want to treat a COVID patient, COVID-19
okay, that
patient.
is outside Nigeria.
Outside Nigeria, you saw the thing too.
Yes.
Can we do that here? No, we can't do that. And even over there, it's not going to be easy, because for a child needs to be moving up and down, not to
They are restless.
Okay, let's take this call from Sango. Ojo. Ojo is calling from Sango. Hello, good morning. Hello, Mr. Ojo.
I think we lost that call.
Hello? I think we lost that, yes.
Okay. So this is however, I think the children also are not getting it easy. They are not finding it easy. It's not easy, you know. A child is expected to be in school, but for over 2-3 months now, they have been at home. We have no choice, but thank God for social media, thank God for e-learning, that they will continue them, because we still have to maintain it. No, even those states that said they want to open their churches and mosques, they said it should be fumigated. They should go there and sanitize everywhere and make sure that their congregation is no more than 100. And I don't know how they are going to do that in Nigeria. I don't expect us to even open at all.
No. So, Mr.
Let me just church that we have been expecting miracles. They believe going to church now is going to give us miracle, or going to mosque now is going to give us miracle to stop the pandemic. Well, Mr. Itan.
Let me just talk about that. The child also suffered these things. Now, many children are not given to stay with their parents, because we have some of our parents who are abusive parents. Imagine being battered. Most children are going to be battered because we don't really understand how and what they do, how they behave. So children are prone to one.
Let's take this call, Mr. Ampanga. Fumi is calling from Lagos. Hello, Fumi. Hello, Fumi.
Hello, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. You're welcome to the program. You know what we're discussing, so go straight to your point.
Hello, Fumi. Go ahead, please.
Well, network issue. All right.
Continue,
So,
Mr.
we have child battery becoming mostly, because any little thing, the parents are not happy being at home, money is not in their pocket, and the child is here, mommy, I'm hungry, daddy, I'm hungry, daddy, I need this.
Transfer of aggression.
So a transfer of aggression is going to be taking place, and they are battered. And by being battered, they will not be happy. Most students are also being subjected to emotional deprivation. Why? Because when the parents are not happy, the child sees. Even if the parents are trying to cover it up, the child will pick it up. That my father is not happy, and begin to ask a lot of questions, which the parent will not want to open up most of the time. And by such, the child will also have a notion that something is wrong, and he will not be happy because the parents are not happy. Now, talk about the restrictions, the movement, going to see their friends. They are also being bored at home. So it is true that some of our children also might have what we call depression. But we cannot, it has not been well documented, it has not been reported. But I'm sure that child battery, just as we have the battery among women, is becoming more common.
Increased.
Because most of the husbands were not naturally at home, so they don't really have much time at home. But with this incident that just happened, they're forced to stay together, and issues of battery has to come up. And now the financial aspect of the major thing is being drained.
Staying together is
is being drained. So issues are about to come up, and the man that is naturally not used to staying will want to react, and that is an abuse on the woman on its own. So a whole lot of issues come, and this also is pertaining also are related to the children. There's no how you talk about battery among the spouse that the child at home will not be affected. He sees it, he will not be happy.
Definitely.
So these are issues we are about to see. That is our interplaying. So it's not just a one with it affects everybody.
Okay, Mr. Akpan, we've talked about
Charity, we have Austin.
Okay.
Austin is coming from Ijoko. Hello, Austin.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to talk on the issue of the children who are medicine. You know, the advisor is saying the schools are conducted as well. Let us not forget that children, especially those in the rural areas, they are outside even playing with their police, still mixing up with them. What is the difference in them in the school? I believe that if government really wants the school to resume, this school should be given a review on how to maintain social distance. It is very, very possible. I know that even in so many schools, if you ask a child in a school where you have family schools, 1 to 6, you can decide to wait from 1, 2, and 3 to come in the morning, 4, 5, and 6 to come in the evening. Push 1, 2, and 3, you make use of the 3 space that you have there. So it is possible, except you don't want to take it. So because closing down the whole Islam is not the best. And this disease which we are seeing, we should know that it has come to stay. So we should really want to manage it so that the country can go on. That is my contribution. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that call. He called from Ijoko. I think Ijoko or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you for that call. Mr. Akpan, you were saying something about being depressed, the children being depressed. So how do we come out of this depression, the negative side of COVID-19? What should we do at this point? Because we need it now.
The first thing to actually talk about is for us to accept the realities that we are facing with. Because that goes a long way to make us now being purposeful in what we do, because we have to engage in what we call purposive actions. If we don't accept that these things are real, we will not be able to do things. And having done that, we need now to come up with what we call problem solving. We have to improve our problem solving skills. Trying now to align what we need to do that are within our limits, and strategize ways we need to go about doing it. Setting tasks for ourselves, not that to be too much, and not in kind of accepting any other thing that comes on board. Now we have to also to deal with aspect of being financially disciplined. We need to set our budget and work by our budget, and not allow anything to infringe upon our budget, to expand our budget. Instead, we try as much as possible to reduce our budget. On the part of our children, we as parents have to understand that what we are passing through, they are also passing through the same. And try now to educate them on the new normal. Because they are going to go to school, they need to understand the aspect of this new normal. Because despite at a particular point in time, they will definitely go into school. And these things are not going to go away in the next few months. No, it might last with us for some period of time.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Aitan. I was even thinking of something now that even, for those that are going to private schools, if they ask the student to resume now, how would that one work out? Which term is the parent going to pay?
Actually, for now, the term
I'm sorry to turn myself to a presenter.
Let's look at it from this dimension. Looking at the term issue, we are already running short of our time. What I feel will be the best thing is just to find a means of completing whatever we have done and move to the next term. So I think that's the major thing that
I know some private schools that are already appealing to parents to pay part of the school fees. For which time, I don't know.
For which time?
I don't know, just like you said. But, some of them are also been involved in e-learning. And those that have been carrying out the e-learning stuff must have to be encouraged And so you can see where the private schools
And I know
are
that they've
coming
been
from.
doing this test, regular test
Yes,
online too.
you
Actually, most of the learning process is still, they're trying to run up the syllabus, because most of the private, given to the private school, there are most of the private schools are already completing their syllabus.
Most likely.
Yeah,
Because
they were almost about going to examination.
Exactly.
When the
Because
lockdown.
I know of a
came up.
school that my own children attends, the first 2 semesters is when they complete the whole textbook. The 3rd semester is just like a revision.
It's just a revision.
They've undergone the revisions
And tidy up for the
tidy
exams.
up for the exams.
That is it.
So, given what has happened, I presume that most of the private schools might have completed their syllabus, because even what they are doing now in the revision class is just like a revision. In the online, it's just like a revision of what the children has already been exposed to.
Now, for those who think that schools might resume soon, we pray so. Let's look into the future. Let's look at it's been eased now. People are going about their normal businesses. The curfew is now from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m.
Yeah.
But let's look at education and let's be realistic. What challenge is likely to face government in this line when you have, let me take some schools, for example, maybe GS1 alone, you have about 6 arms or 8 arms, and we have like 70, 80, 60 in a classroom. Yes. So that is public schools now. If you project into that, what's
After
likely,
resumption.
yes, what is likely, because for easing it now and for allowing people to actually go about their normal business, it's indirectly telling us that for some time we have to live with COVID-19 and still go about our normal lives as much as possible, doing the prevention, trying to see that we don't go overboard to actually contract this disease. But coming back to education, where the children are tired, they want to go back to school, and of course most of the children are in public schools, what likely are going to be the challenges we're going to be facing here?
Thank you very much. That's a very, 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 very good and a very unique question. You know, this is where, when I saw President requesting for loan, this is where I tend to ask myself, what is this loan meant for? Because we are still going to have many, many loans. Because on this education alone is a serious problem. Knowing fully the situation of our public schools in Nigeria before, he was saying it that some of the private schools have already finished their syllabus before the advent of COVID-19. But don't forget, public schools are not like that. We know Nigerians. That is the reason why you will see a teacher of public school that his or her child will not be in public school, will be in private school. You will now ask him or her. That's why. We know the level of our education. So based on that, I think government needs to come up now. First and foremost, everybody is aware that we have inadequate teachers, inadequate classrooms, and every other thing that needs to be involved in the education sector. So now, those loans that they are collecting, those loans that they are requesting for, they should please earmark a large percentage for education. By coming out of this COVID-19, more teachers should be recruited. More classrooms should be built. All these things should be done so as to come up with education. We should not deceive ourselves.
Because we cannot run away from the congestion of the
classroom. We cannot. And naturally already we don't have enough teachers and all those things. That is why you are even say 8 arms. We have almost 15 arms. Go to our secondary school, you see A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And almost 70, 80 students in a class. In a classroom. So these things need to be done properly. Our government should come up. State governments, federal government should come up. I'm seeing it that as if I don't think WAEC of May, June will be written this year. And I have not seen it. And if it is not going to be written, then it will be shifted to next year. Another set of students will join them and they will move to another class. And how are they going to do it? Second term has not been done. This is third term going already. How is the students going to be promoted to the next class? Which means that student has not been adequately prepared for the next class.
Let me allow Dr. Ita to actually wrap up on that note.
So, to talk about the educational aspect, it's going to be a bit challenging, but it can be doable.
Okay.
We need to look for a means of restructuring the calendar, breaking the children into smaller groups, timing, maybe adjusting to timing, involvement in the use of e-learning. We still need to keep the e-learning to update what the classroom cannot do, so that the classroom will just be like further explanations. Then we need to get more of the sanitary inspectors, like what I mean by the health inspectors to schools, who will be there now to ensure that the children maintain social distancing while outside the classroom. Because one thing is to space the classroom. The next thing is what happens during the break time.
All right, that's how far we can go on the program. We hope that we cannot say it all, and for those who try to call, we want to thank you. COVID-19 aligning with the new norms, it is challenge, and of course we'll continue to talk about it and readjust. Psychologically, I want to pray that God will give us the wherewithal to be psychologically balanced to withstand the challenges that are going to run. Financially, it's all about prayers. And of course to the government too. I know they are trying their best to actually make sure that they give the best to those that are being governed here and there. All right, that's how far we can go on to this edition of the program. My name is Akim Makitude, and of course on behalf of Charity James, we want to say that definitely Wednesday next week is another day for the duo as far as Newdawn is concerned. I want to thank our guest, Dr. Ita Nkwan. Thank you very much for having time to come to the program. He's a psychologist and public analyst, my brother Alhaji Rahman Oluine. Thank you very much for your time for coming to the studio.
Thank you very much.
That's the program. See you again Wednesday next week. Charity James and Akim Makitude signing off.